I get it. You're standing in front of the salon equipment shelf, scrolling through a dozen machines that promise instant glow, clinic-grade results, and zero-drip convenience, and you're wondering if any of them are actually worth the hefty price tag. I was in the same spot last month, trying to decide whether to upgrade the little corner of my home spa with a professional-grade hydrodermabrasion system or just stick with my tried-and-true handheld serums. The risk of pouring money into a piece of tech that ends up gathering dust is real, especially when the claims sound almost too good to be true. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Zemits DermeLuxx Pro is marketed as a hydrodermabrasion oxygen cryo machine, basically a 3-in-1 facial treatment that combines fluid hydropeeling, oxygen infusion, and cryotherapy in a single unit. The first thing I did before even pulling the plug out of the box was read a handful of forum threads where estheticians compare their go-to devices. What kept popping up was the conversation around serum consumption. Traditional hydropeeling rigs can gulp down 510 milliliters of product per session, which quickly adds up. The DermeLuxx claims it uses 10 times less serum thanks to a dual diamond tip that supposedly distributes the fluid more evenly. If you're the type who stocks up on Heinz serums, that reduction could translate into a noticeable cost saving over months of use. So, who actually benefits from a machine like this? In my experience, the sweet spot is a small to medium-sized salon that wants to offer a premium facial upgrade without buying a full-scale medical laser system. The unit's footprint is about the size of a small desktop printer, so a treatment room can accommodate it without a major remodel. For independent estheticians who already have a client base seeking clinic-level results, the DermeLuxx can be a differentiator that justifies a higher price point per session. It also makes sense for a serious home user who already invests in professional serums and wants to stretch those products further while adding the sensory experience of oxygen and cool-down phases. If you're a casual user who only gets a facial once every few months, or you run a pop-up booth where portability is king, you might want to skip this one. The machine needs a stable power source, a dedicated water line for the hydro component, and a bit of setup time before each client. It's not something you can just toss into a backpack and run a quick demo. The learning curve is modest, mostly about mastering the flow settings and the timing of the oxygen and cryo cycles, but it's still a step up from the press button vibe of most at-home devices. Now, let's talk about the practical strengths that actually matter when you start using it. First, the dual diamond tip does seem to create a more uniform glide across the skin. In a live demo with a local esthetician, the tip moved smoothly over a client's cheek without the puddling you sometimes see with other hydro devices. That even distribution is what the marketing team ties to the claim of 3 times greater results. While we can't measure collagen boost on the spot, the client reported an immediate feeling of tighter skin and less post-treatment redness compared with a standard microdermabrasion. The second strength is the non-dripping design. Traditional hydropeel machines can be messy, with fluid splashing onto the work surface and requiring extra cleanup. The DermeLuxx's sealed cartridge system keeps the serum inside the unit until it's actively being delivered, which not only saves you time but also keeps the treatment area cleaner, something any professional knows is a huge plus when you're moving from client to client. On the flip side, there are a few hidden trade-offs that become obvious after a week or two of daily use. The first is the reliance on proprietary cartridges. While the claim of using 10 times less serum sounds great, the cartridges are sold by Zemits and are priced higher per milliliter than bulk serum bottles you might already have. If you're not already buying the brand serum, the cost advantage can evaporate quickly. Secondly, the oxygen and cryo functions are built into the same unit, which means you can't independently adjust one without affecting the other. In practice, that means you have to experiment a bit to find the sweet spot for each skin type. A client with very sensitive skin might find the combined cold burst a bit too intense, while someone with oily skin may appreciate the extra sebum control from the cryotherapy. Another practical consideration is maintenance. The dual diamond tip needs to be cleaned after every session to avoid cross-contamination, and the internal fluid lines require a monthly flush with a sanitizing solution. That's standard for any clinical-grade device, but it does add a layer of responsibility that a casual home user might overlook. If you're not prepared to keep a cleaning schedule, you could end up with clogged tips or reduced performance, which defeats the whole purpose of investing in a high-end system. When it comes to value for money, the DermeLuxx sits in a middle ground. It's pricier than a typical at-home LED mask, but cheaper than a full-blown